Oh man, here we go again. Second time today. Bring it. Kick off the live on Instagram. Bear with us just one moment here, folks. Looks good there. I think all systems are a go, as though I'm kicking off a rocket ship. It feels like it sometimes, okay? Just bear with me. I'm human. Welcome to Unmuzzled Chat. I am so grateful for you this beautiful day. I'm so grateful for our loving Creator, God. He is moving mountains kind of behind the scenes, but we can gain clarity. We can gain the sight. Oh, I got fruit flies in here. This is great. We can gain the clarity to see His hand in action, and it's right before us. It actually reminds me of a conversation I had with a close friend even yesterday. An atheist approached him and in a comment stating, "You're insane. Like, are you insane? You believe in a creator? You believe in God?" It's like, to unpack that, the insanity it would take to not consider that this is all there is. A wise man once told me, in fact, it was just in the pre-chat with our special guest today, previous episode, our surprise guest, he stated, oh, now I even lost my thought. You know what, Joshua, I'm bringing you in. What was my thought? What did you say pre-show?
Okay.
Where was I going? Now I just threw us both in the mix.
Okay. Well, I mean, one of the very first things I said that I could tell that struck you was that every day we can either dwell or we can draw from the well. You can't do both.
Mm.
And to dwell means that you're stuck and that you have stagnant water. But to draw from the well, you're getting a fresh cup every day, no matter what.
Wow. Well, folks, I want to welcome in the man of steel himself, a soldier, a warrior, a veteran that has paid a lot of personal sacrifice on our behalf, our freedoms, our country, our God, everything. And you are an inspiration to me, brother. So you popped on. We're going to give a big plug to Glenn here in how Glenn has answered the call from God and set him on a path to help us all. And then making connections like this with Joshua HOLM himself. It's some of the mountains being moved right now in this spiritual battle we're all faced with. But I'm so grateful for these connections. There's been inspiration. There's been growth and healing that has occurred even with me already in these interactions. I can only imagine for others to take the time and tap into this in your guys' gifts and all the things you're doing in your personal lives and on behalf of others. It's just a blessing all around. So I just, all glory to God. I'm so grateful for these men and everything they're doing. So let's do a big plug here to Glenn Baker and
Absolutely.
what he's bringing for us, folks. I mean, right here, to go over to YouTube. We added the links in this episode as well. Some additional ones to Joshua HOLM that we'll plug here in a bit. But check out Glenn Baker's music videos. They have powerful messages to them. They're really great tunes. And this documentary, my gosh, for $10.99, we're not just obtaining information that's worth every penny. It's worth every penny to sit through this. I'm telling you, it's like a freaking steam train building momentum. By the end of it, he really brings it home. And maybe even have a tissue box ready. Because
exactly
it is powerful. Now, let's look at the other layers to this documentary, folks. It's enabling Glenn to continue on this path to produce more, to put money towards more organization, not just through the veterans, but on a civilian level as well, to find more solutions against all the wars being waged against us. There's another layer. Glenn is giving 50% of the proceeds. He needs X amount. What was it? 17,000 or something, 16,000, I believe, would bless Joshua HOLM here with an exoskeleton bringing more quality of life back to the sacrifice he paid. So we'll get into his story and as to, what,
Yeah, it's like 150,000 or something like that for the seed money to basically put me in an exoskeleton suit that would be specifically made for my needs and specifically made to my design for my
wow.
body.
And you're going about it in a selfless way too, because even off air, like how you were talking about, we need more advancements in this gear, and you have the willingness to be, let's just say it for what it is, like kind of like a guinea pig with this
Yeah.
gear to advance it to bless other wounded warriors' lives, also civilian. I mean, it's going to apply across the board. I want to give a quick plug to the Forgotten Soldiers and John and Scott, because John was the one that reached out to me and did the connection to Glenn. Come in here, follow them, watch Glenn's episode with John and Scott is freaking epic. They do such fantastic job, and more warriors. Just so grateful. So much is happening, folks. We live in such a blessed time. It's hard sometimes to not focus and be engulfed in the darkness, right? But with these challenges, just like in our personal lives, we can let it break us, we can let it strengthen us, we can, there's, and that's what you, brother, like you have a gift of gab, so I'm already doing too much talking. And we'll let you shine the light as to how you've gained these very powerful perspectives in a position that we can't even fathom, to be honest. I actually have a veteran buddy last night that was, he's an HVAC tech. That's what he did in the Marine Corps. And now for a big company here in Phoenix, he was around a UV light install yesterday, and it messed with his vision. He couldn't see, and he was up all night, thought about going to the emergency room. But for a moment in our discussion today, maybe we'll have him on, we'll talk about all this, but he just to consider the gift of sight we have, like how fragile our physical bodies are, and for someone to have full body function, go through what you've went through, and have such an inspiring, like obtain such an inspiring position now with so much light to give. It's like, what is that? Like, what is that? And I know for you, it's all glory to God, but we need to tap into that. What? So enough talking from me.
Yeah.
Joshua, I welcome you individually on the Unmuzzled Chat. You're going to bless a lot of lives today.
Thank you,
So
brother.
tell us a
I
bit
appreciate
about yourself, man.
I appreciate it. Well, first of all, I want to start with Glenn because, like I said, he's the one that connected us, together.
Yes.
Glenn's an incredible guy. He's very selfless, guys. He's selfless to the core, but he's raw and he's real,
Yes.
and that's what we need. We need the real, real, and that's what you're getting through this documentary. Is you're getting real, uncut footage of the hearts and the cries of our warriors. I call it a warrior's cry, and one thing I call suicide is screaming in silence. Because I remember when I was 13 years old, when I attempted to take my life, when the enemy had me down to the deepest, darkest
Man.
point. I remember saying these words, and it says, "Out of the abundance of heart, the mouth cries." And so, heart cries, whatever. And so, what happened is, I said these words. I said, "No one loves me. No one cares about me. There is no hope for my life." And
Man.
immediately, I heard a voice say, "Someone loves you. Someone cares about you. There is hope." That's what they said. There is hope. And I opened my eyes and I looked, and if it was the sun, going down, and there was a tree there, it would have highlighted the tree. But what it highlighted was now my wife, Crystal. Guys, she was my angel, and I did not find salvation that day. but I found hope that day, which later on led me to salvation. And that's what keeps me going, guys, is my faith, my family, and a future ahead. So we have to look beyond ourselves, our circumstances, and our situation and see there's a
Mm.
hurting world all around us, and they need two things: help and hope. And at Still Hope, we don't measure help, because help is help. No matter how small or no matter how big it is, that's help. And hope is hope. So we start with hope. You have to have hope, because I truly believe that that is the heartbeat of a warrior, is hope.
Hope.
Hope is the heartbeat of a warrior.
Wow. Easier said than done, isn't it? Especially when you're seemingly in the suck. How do you
Yeah.
obtain that breakthrough? Some of us are just so stubborn. I'm speaking to myself here. They have to go to that to really even consider cracking the door up to the idea of God. I mean, it's a great humbling place, isn't it? And I walked that tough path to my own detriment, and I don't need validation in my story. And so much of us. So people got to understand more. So what is our intent? What is
Yeah.
our intent? And
So I like to look at it balled up like an onion. Okay. So there's different layers of onion. So there's different layers of healing and there's different layers of hurt. And as you remove one layer of hurt, you can lay on a layer of healing. And then eventually, the funny thing is okay. So if you have if you have a onion and you take it and you put it in take it on layers, the very first layer outside the skin, if you wash it and you take it layer by layer, right? The very first layer tastes like dirt. It's very spongy, has a lot of grit to it, this, that, and the other. Okay.
yeah,
And then as you take that layer off, then it's a little more heat to it, so that it gets a little bit hotter. And you would think the more you would take off, the hotter it would get. But you know what? The core of an onion, it's sweet. That's how
mm,
life is. When you get to the core, the center of of this universe that we're in, the center of our world in Earth, is core. It is melting lava. And so
mm,
I love watching these people like blow glass and stuff. And and so where they put the glass in, it's called the glory hole. The glory hole. And you have to have that intense heat consistently, and then everything around you becomes liquid. And then as
mm.
they begin to blow into it, and they're putting a lot of pressure and everything, they're blowing into it. They make this beautiful artwork. They make these beautiful vessels.
Wow.
And see, the very first miracle that God ever did, that Jesus ever did, he turned water into wine. And if you
Mm,
look at it, what he did is he took an ordinary vessel and he put extraordinary wine through the ordinary vessel. So he
mm.
does not change the container, but he changed the contents within the container.
Wow.
And that's what matters. So he wants to take your life just as you are. Like my wife's very first quote is, ordinary lives are lived out in extraordinary moments. And what we had earlier, brother, was an extraordinary moment that you wanted to share, because you're like, I don't want to be selfish. I want to share this with my people. This is too good not to share. And
Wow.
that's how we know it's God dots. Because the thing is,
God
honestly,
dots.
because these God dots, yeah, because honestly, it's almost like a deja vu. And in the spiritual aspect, it's like we've met before and our guards are down 100% because we have that kindred spirits.
Wow.
And so the Holy Spirit gives you that comfort, that counselor, and the courage to be able to carry through. And
And
you
to
think about
share
it.
and share all these God dots, that's where post our episode with amazing none other than Glenn Baker, and you hung around for just a bit, I felt selfish. And we actually, I mean, you could tell, you could validate this. I'm not lying here. We scheduled out for next Wednesday. I still want to
Yep.
follow through because I believe we are only going to scratch the surface regarding the gifts you've acquired. All glory to God, right? And
Yeah.
just breathe light and inspiration into all our lives, because I still have a half functioning brain, but a functional body to an extent. And hallelujah, we tend to get stuck in that darkness. So you can breathe a lot of light and inspiration. So anyway, that's what kicked off this. You know what? If you don't mind, let's do a reset. Let's go ahead and kick off just a real conversation, get to know you, kind of tip of the iceberg. And speaking of that, we'll get into all these organizations, everything you've been engaged in, but let's go ahead and start. How did you become the Man of Steel? What took place?
So it's funny. So after my stroke in 2009, May 1st, 2009, I had a stroke, and I made such a such a crazy recovery that the VA wanted to study my brain. So they sent me to Madison, Wisconsin, and I went through a living EEG, which is a 10-day study where they literally chained me to a bed. They have all the heart monitors on, all this
Wow.
stuff like that. And while they were there, someone sent me an email, and it was, and like I've had a lot of people that called me Steel, and so I went through different programs with my mentor Dave Reaver, and I went through his program, and on my certificate it says Joshua Superman HOLM. I never had called myself that, and then I went through another program, and saying it said Joshua Superman HOLM on the same exact certificate. Nobody else had a nickname in between, like a parentheses, but I did. And so then but then how it became that was because the very first time I was at my mentor's ranch, I began to hear a voice, and it said, "Be still, be silent, be still, be silent." Just continued to echo that. And then so I knew how to spell "be," but then when I heard the word "still," I wanted to remember. And I know Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am the Lord." It's one of my favorite scriptures. But
Yes.
as I went to go write the word "still," I wrote STEEL. And my flesh immediately rose up and said, "You dummy, you spelled it wrong." Like a judgment, it was chastising. And as I went to go mark it out, that pen did not write. And then
What?
in that moment, I became still and I became silent. And then I heard the word standing. And then I wrote standing. Transforming, I wrote transforming. Encouraging, encouraging. Enlightening, enlightening. And loving. And so for the very first time I had spoke on a stage, I began to share my story. And as a brain injury patient, I have a severe traumatic brain injury. I have a cognitive issue where what I'm thinking and what I'm saying are two different things. And so
Yes.
I used to stutter a lot because I was looking for what's called a trigger word, a certain word. But now I've learned that I can use any form of communication and it becomes clear. So sometimes, like, I take a little bit longer in the processing of it, or other times I'm speaking so fast, like I'm speaking like a fire hydrant. I say so much because I have so much on my heart, so much on my mind flowing through, and I have a habit of interrupting people. And I'm trying to get that point where I'm not there anymore, and I'm trying to like engage to re-engage. And so I'm trying to be more productive with that. So the stuttering aspect, I pretty much have got that down to a T.
Wow.
Public speaking, I've got that down to a T. I'm not a scripted person. I speak directly from the heart. That's just really how I feel, and it's most productive. Because I let God just kind of flow through my heart, and I feel the situation out, and uh, I'm very I'm very intentional on how I'm letting the Lord lead me into what I'm going to say, or what I feel like I need to be doing. Because there's sometimes like I want to go one direction, but I feel like being drifted over, and it's like that magnetic pull. It's like that magnetic north pulling me and saying, "This is your, I'm your compass. Let me lead you." And so then I'll gauge that, and then but it's like, but through our weakness, Christ is made strong. So a lot of people, they're trying to focus so much on their strengths. Why can't we focus on the weaknesses and surrender that to Christ?
Yes.
Because
Wow.
the more we submit to Christ means the lower we become, the more He summits us. He summits us. He lifts us up, guys. And the thing is, and I said it in the last episode, the thing is, God is very simple, guys. And His word is very simple, but it's complex. So simplicity can bring complexity, but it never leaves chaos, confusion, or division. It's always going to bring someone together. It's never going to tear them apart. And never will. Never will.
Brother, you're speaking to my soul. Maybe because we've had similar paths to an extent. I mean, traumatic brain injury is no joke. And there's a bunch of horrific statistics to all that. Luckily, there's more new age revolutionary things that, hyperbaric oxygen treatments and just things we never really even considered that are statistically very healing, firing up, sleeping, neurons in our brains, things of that nature, and even the power of prayer. Neurologists are blown away in just 17 minutes of intentional prayer a day for what is it? Only like 14 days, and they can clinically
Mhm.
see neurological growth in the body. Like, we obviously dismiss, in a sense, all the evidence Jesus like left us with, all the healings and things he did, and it's like we kind of dismiss that that's not happening now. He doesn't need to be here in the flesh. We see miracles taking place. You, my man, are a miracle. I know I'm a miracle. All of us,
Yeah.
in ways,
Yeah.
have miracles. It's just hard to mortally put our finger on that pulse and acknowledge what has taken place in our own lives, and even grasp the vastness of it all,
Mhm.
right? So yeah,
Yeah.
humbling. You're just, you got all these gold nuggets. You got all these amazing phrases and things. I mean, we could just make a bunch of trendy videos. Just you here talking today. I swear. Uh, God dots is one of them. I
Well,
like the great.
and well, and then also with the my very first quote is that, you must first deal with the enemy before you can even identify the enemy. So you must look inside yourself, guys. You look in the mirror. If you don't like what you see, you're the only one that can change what you see and how you're going to live, no matter what you see. Because you
Wow.
got to begin to love yourself. Like, you got to be able to get out of the shower, and no matter how big or no matter how small you are, you should look in the mirror and say, "Look, I am bold. I am beautiful. I am brave." And you got to be able to begin to see that self reflection, and begin to see and begin to speak strength and love over yourself. Because, guys, we are our worst critics. We beat ourselves down worse than the enemy
Yes.
can even tear us down at all. And the thing is, so I love teaching about the story of David and Goliath. And one of the stories that I love to tell is not one that's very, very often told. So everyone likes to see the power of the pebble. They like to see how when you release your strength, the Lord has supernatural strength, and he's going to take out the enemy. And that's a great thing, and fully equipped. So yes, he could not wear the armor of Saul because he was already fully equipped with armor of light. That's a great concept too. And he came with an empty sling, but the Lord prepared five smooth stones in the brook. You know what I'm saying? And he was able to. And he grabbed five because it was Goliath, and he had brothers, and he was like,
Mm,
"Hey, I'll take them all out." But the most powerful story of David and Goliath is what's not being told. And this is what I teach. The most
wow.
powerful story of David and Goliath is that David was never seen a threat by Goliath. And the reason why David was never seen a threat by Goliath is because his faith. Because David never had his eyes on Goliath, he kept his eyes on God. So
Right.
God could take care of Goliath. So, how many times do we put ourselves in a place where we are trying to look at the enemy or the disease or whatever, and we're trying to do it with our own strength, our own abilities? Why can't we just focus on God first and then let God take care of all the Goliaths in the world?
Well, you're taking all the fun out of it. We got to be human. We got to make mistakes. We got to often learn the hard way, but you're speaking profound truth. Can you apply that scenario to a situation in your life where you were kind of more so slipping, but then you figured that out? I mean,
Absolutely.
it's yeah,
Many times over. Okay. Well, one, okay. So I was raised in church. So what I knew was religion. I didn't know relationship.
education.
And then,
Yeah,
and then,
relation.
you know, yeah. And so,
There's a
but
difference. Yeah,
growing up in church did not bring me
provide that.
salvation. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I mean, it
It was like
actually
you were
did.
educated,
Correct.
not didn't establish that relationship. Yeah, there's a difference
Correct.
between being educated and having a relation. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I remember my wife, like when, how I gave my life to the Lord was because my wife, she started going to church, this, that, and the other, and she gave her life to the Lord. And and I was very bitter. I was a very bitter, bad person. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of hurts in life, this, that, and the other. And I was raised in church. So I know how to play the keyboard. I know how to sing. I know how to do this, that, and the other. And so I knew how to walk. I knew how to fake the funk and to seem good for a moment. But in the real, I was carnal. I was very jaded. I was very bitter. I was a bitter person. And I remember my wife saying this, and this is where Joshua Home broke. My wife said, I said, what is it that you have that I don't have? Because I noticed that I couldn't tear her down
Mm.
anymore. Like the enemy would use me to help tear her down, this and the other. And she would just cry. She just began to cry. And she's like, you know what? She's like, I'm not going nowhere. You know, you're not gonna do this. Uh, and she's like, I'm
Wow.
gonna pray for you. Now it gets furious.
What
And
a saint.
I just remember these little moments. But I remember my wife saying, I said, what is it that you have that I don't have? And she said, very simple, but it crushed my soul. She said, baby, she said, you've got religion and I've got Jesus. You've got religion, but I've got Jesus. And I couldn't
Truth.
say anything else, bro. I couldn't say anything else. And honestly, I tried to make it seem like it didn't affect me, but it like crushed me. And then that next day, I was like, that's it. I'm done. January 16, 2003, right before I went to Iraq and I got injured in war. And I came back on my own 2 feet, tried to act like nothing ever happened. Because oftentimes in life we try to be so strong, we try to
What?
be invincible. Because and it's because we don't have the right perception, and because the wrong perception will leave you in deception, but the right perception will help you have will have you basically intercepting what the enemy is trying to throw into play. You intercept it, and the Holy Spirit just gives you the power just to run
Wow.
towards the goal, run towards your mark. And I mean, and that's the thing. We got to press on and press forward no matter what happens. And that's why every day, and the other thing I would like to say too on that was June 28th, guys. I lost my voice and almost lost my life. I
Mm.
had one of the most severe GI tears. 19 of 25 centimeters of my esophagus was torn.
Wow.
And they said 5 more minutes I would not be on this earth. And a miracle happened. And so then a surgeon went, they did experimental surgery on me. They cauterized my inside and they put these epoxy glue
Wow.
and this, that, and the other, because there wasn't nothing to hold it back. And they told my wife, they said, we're going to give him very little chance that he'd ever be able to speak again. And for 33 days, I was nonverbal. And the day before this happened, I told Glenn that he asked me if I'd be willing to go to Georgia to be in this music video for Finish This Fight. It was called Soldier Strong. It was going to be a song that he did, but it's called Finish This Fight. And I mean, and it's incredible. And after I got out of the hospital, I was nonverbal. And I told my wife, I was like, I would like to go. And she's like, are you sure you're up to it? And I couldn't speak. And I was like, absolutely. Let's go. And so they wanted me to be in this rehab scene. And then everything came to place thereafter. Because the thing is like, but the powerful thing about this is that the Lord had to allow the enemy to help take my voice because I didn't value my voice first. Second, I was in a place of defeat trying to get to a place of victory rather than why can't we start in a place of victory? Why do we have to start in defeat? Why can't we start in victory and help other people see and share that victory moment as well? And so my wife, she did not have a voice, but the Lord gave her voice, and then He helped me to value my voice. And that's why every day I say it's one day, it's one step. It's a day. Today is a day of victory. I declare that victory in Jesus. Once you have victory in Jesus, there's no more victim mentality. You can be victimized, but you're no longer a victim. You can be a victor through Christ.
Guys, I want you to understand a little about the man that this message is coming from. Like ponder losing your eyesight, ponder losing use of limbs, mental disabilities, just capableness, just health, right? And a lot of us have been deteriorated. We need this spiritual healing more than ever. This spiritual, um, the gifts of the fruit of the spirit, in fact, could lead us on the path in the mortal existence to great breakthrough, right? This is coming from a man that is dealing with loss of body function. Do you want to
Yeah.
indulge a little on what took
Yeah.
place, what happened? And
Yeah. So
what are the impacts?
yeah, well, I mean, initial injury, I got hurt in Iraq multiple times while deployed in Iraq doing house raids. I got shot in the chest, had
Wow.
armor on when I got hit. They said 2 to 5 more pounds of pressure would have broke my sternum, which would have split my heart, killed me instantly. It was a
Mm.
blasted chest, but I didn't realize the residual of that blasted chest, and that's kind of what had started some of the GI issues. A lot of things I was exposed, a lot of exposed stuff. I was part of the burn pits. And so I was a sergeant over the details, burning some of that waste and all that stuff. I was exposed to a lot of chemicals, a lot of nerve agents. I
Wow.
was one of the selected troops that got all the anthrax shots, the 6 anthrax shots that we got, and we were forced to have it. And we
Uh,
had to take malaria pills that were poisoning us. I mean, there was so much stuff, but
right.
mission first. The mission comes first, and that's what we did. You never accept defeat. This is the warrior ethos, and then you never leave a fallen comrade behind. We never accept defeat. Mission comes first, and you never leave a fallen comrade behind. So no matter what happened to me, guys, I was looking at the mission being first. I'm trying to do what I got to do, and then go back home and see my wife and my kid. And that's what it was for me. So really, like, and then too, that adrenaline becomes like a drug. When you begin to start kicking in doors, you start. I mean, when you're working 18 on, 6 hours off, and you're go 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 go, it becomes addictive, and it becomes like a drug, and it's crazy. It's crazy how it takes over, and
Yes.
then like and then when you prepare for a situation and you're like you see all the movies of Rambo and Commando and all that stuff like that, and you picture out how you're gonna do, but in that moment when you're basically caught with your pants down, like you're caught and you're not ready, something happens. That's gonna make you very angry, and that's what it was. The very first situation was I was angry when I got shot, and so I'm like, I'm not going home. I'm not going home. I'm good. So the very first emotion was anger. That second, when I was running from a mortar attack and my legs outran my body, and I do a face plant on the pea gravel, and a 60 millimeter mortar landed 3 feet in front of me. If I would have fallen on my face, that mortar would have hit me directly. Even though it didn't explode, it embedded in gravel. So I had shrapnel that went through my face, neck, and chest. Felt like I had bees stinging me all over my chest. So I was
Mm.
given 2 weeks infirmary because I didn't want to go home. So on the very last day, September 1st of 2003, I was burning waste outside the point, and I began to hear mortars coming into the camp. And I couldn't tell if it was incoming or outgoing mortars because we had artillery 155, and we had mortarmen behind us shooting 81s and 105s and 120. And so the thing is like, so but I could not, I didn't want to be a boy crying wolf. So I did not know if I had good intel. Plus, in 2003, when it first kicked off, I was part of the second wave of the first surge in Iraq with 4th Infantry Division. Um, and my unit was 316 FA. I want you to hear that again, 316 FA. And our motto was Nevacte Decree, which is Latin for go forth with new strength.
Wow.
It's like God had already prepared every single thing to happen that was going to happen to me. And he entrusted me. I'm going to take this from my mentor, Dave Reaver. God entrusted me with the scars to be able to bear and to wear and to share now the hope and inspiration with others, no matter what happened, guys, because I didn't act like, you know, I mean, like I literally, the military taught me 3 things: suck it up, job on, shoot, move, and communicate, adapt, and overcome. And that's what I did. And many
Mm.
times in life, see, people focus on what you focus on. And if you focus on your weakness, you remain weak. But if you focus on your strengths, but surrender your weaknesses, you remain strong no matter what happens. And so, literally, it's all about that dynamic shift of shifting one word to make everything else so much better. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. So, I hear people say all the time that they live to love. And that's a beautiful place to be. Live to love. But what happens when you lose love? You're no longer living.
Mm.
Or you have someone that you love and they now leave the earth. Now you're no longer living. Why can't we love to live? Shift that word. See how it makes such a dynamic difference?
Yeah.
If you
Wow.
if you if you love to live, no matter what happens, you're living. So I tell people, life is about living. And so to life, to me, I'm a life coach. So life is lifting individuals for eternity. It's very simple.
Wow.
So if you're not lifting, you're not loving.
It's crazy the preparations that took place to just that led you even to a greater, deeper humbling and strengthening all at once without that relationship, the true fundamentals of that relationship. I mean, you could see how it leads to sheer suffering in this existence, and we often miss that. We just miss the opportunities. So I'm just so grateful.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the other thing I want to say, I'm sorry, I just had a thought real quick on the pain aspect. Okay, so a lot of people, when they feel pain, they stop. Now, pain is there for two reasons. Pain is there to show you something, and it's also there to speak to you. Now, if you had the choice, you could feel every single thing, which includes pain, or you feel nothing. What would you choose? When I had a stroke, I lost all feeling on my whole left side. I only regained 30% feeling on my whole left side even today. But I gained 100% movement of that left side again because I began to use it no matter how much it hurt. I began to stretch it no matter how tight it got. I began to do things that, and then too, I used my shoulder and my hips. There, you have a 360 rotation on that rather than with the elbow and with the knee aspect and the ankles and the wrist, you only have 45-degree ankles, but you have 45 that you can bend and you can get and you can bend all the way around. You can make a full forward motion and backward motion and eventually complete the circle. But with the shoulder, I looked at a lot of athletes like that, and I see a lot of people have injury because even in training and conditioning, they're trained to get hit forward. Then, but the most ones that gets the most severe damage are when they get hit from behind. In soccer, it's going to be a slide tackle from behind. It's automatic red card. I used to be a referee, and so because I mean it's dangerous. And then, but they don't train you to get hit in your back. So when you get hit from the back, it does more damage because you're only conditioning yourself to go forward. So we need to begin to start all this different thing. So what I had to realize is I had to
forward
realize
momentum.
what I had to realize that I had to learn how to be whole brain trained. So the thing is, I have damage to my frontal lobes, and so that's memory, that's cognitive, that's this and the other, and so I had to begin to fully be able to whole brain train
Yes.
and do that to be fully developed. And I mean, and so as an athlete, if you begin to condition yourself for all situations, then the thing is like now you're adaptive and you're able to go. So like cardiovascular, that's the best way to build muscle mass is cardiovascular muscle. It's natural motion using natural resistance, not weights. It's you using your natural resistance. And in a lot of martial arts, they teach you that a concept about forward motion, saying, and the retreat aspect, but you basically focus your energy inside yourself and then you release that. And so if pain, so why do we have to see pain being a bad thing? Why can't it be a good thing? Because
Yeah.
my concept of pain is part of the process of your perfection, but it's the process, it's not the purpose. But
Gosh.
if we don't go through the process, you'll never see the purpose.
So you encounter this mortar. You don't even know there's any bodily injury, but inevitably it sounded like, okay, there is.
Oh yeah.
It seemed like it was pretty bad, right? Like how bad was it? And then obviously there was an incident. Like it was just a ticking time bomb. That incident was just a matter of time. Once that happened, it even got worse for you.
Yep.
Like,
That
so how
last
bad
day.
was it initially? And yeah, what happened?
Well, September 1st, that was the worst injury. So I'm running past the latrine after I finally flipped it over. I had another guy with me. I told him to go to the tactical operations center to find out what's going on. And like I said, in 2003, we didn't have the alarms going off, letting everybody know because all the bases were not built up. We were just getting there. So this was in the very first surge. We're in the second wave. And so we were skeleton crew. It was only the need to be people there. And I was in a place called Camp Warhorse outside of Bakuba, Iraq, Bakuba. And so and it was called Camp Warhorse. Later on became Camp Freedom One. But we took over 400 to 600 confirmed mortar rounds within a 6-month period. We got hit often. We got hit hard. And then, but that last hit, man. I mean, like, I fell into what's called a spider hole. So I ran past the latrine, and I felt like as I ran, I felt like a gust of wind hit me, like almost like someone pulled me and threw me over to the left. So I remember like feeling like impact in my chest and throwing me over, and I just took a light shrapnel, on my legs and on my arm. I did, but honestly, it was too quick, too fast. That I mean, now that I remember focusing on it, whatever. In the moment, it happened so quick that I remember feeling a burning sensation, but I didn't realize that I had got hit. And but I heard doop doop. It sounded like Pringle cans popping. The empty Pringle can, and that's the mortars going off. And so that was a launch because as soon as I flipped over the crap, literally. I mean, when you're burning waste over there, you have to burn it in layers, and so it takes time to be done. And it looks like you're burning tires because, like, as black as my shirt is, that's
Wow.
what's going up in the air. It looks like you're burning tires because waste burns in layers, and then like you put JP8 on it and you burn it, and you get your handkerchief there over your face and you're stirring it with a piece of pipe or something like that, whatever, and then you burn it, and then you put it out, and then you have to stir it up
You
again,
were
light
just
it up
doing
again.
regular duties, and a mortar attack
Yeah,
starts happening, and
yeah,
so you don't know
yeah.
you're injured. My gosh, like how debilitating immediately
Well,
after all this.
well, so the thing is, so I fell again. So this time when I fell, I remember seeing my bunker before I made to my bunker, because I got hit, pulled over to my left. I got back up and I continued running towards that bunker, and I could see my bunker. Before I made to my bunker, I fell into what's called a 10 to 12 foot chamber called a spider hole, and I hit my head going down. I was knocked out cold. That's where the injury happened with the TBI. As far
Mm,
as it's called polytrauma, so I had multiple head injuries that happened throughout
mm,
my military career. And then,
wow.
but I landed my lifeless body, it knocked out, landed on my ankles and straight on my kneecaps and hit my tailbone. So that's where the spinal injury happened. But I broke my right ankle 4 places, my left ankle three, shattered both my knees, splinter fracture both my legs. But
Oh my
because of my
gosh.
pride, I did. They just gave me Motrin. They just gave me Skittles, Army Ranger candy is what we call it. And so,
Ranger
and,
candy.
well, and
You're
that was
tough as
typical.
nails. Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
so that was typical. And then so, but because I had just been seen, I mean, my face was still cut up from the shrapnel and everything that hit my, with the pea gravel that hit my hands and went through my gloves, and hit my chest, because that was the very last day I was going to be on light duty. And so, because I didn't complain, there wasn't a problem. And so I just went there, got my stuff, and I just put ace bandages on my legs, and I, I walked on broken legs in 4.5 months. I didn't know that my legs began to turn inside my body. So I was doing more
Right.
damage than it was good. And then I got
Right.
back from Iraq, and literally the adrenaline, because that adrenaline was my drug. That was what keeping me going. You know what I'm saying? Just like morphine, how they just keep hitting themselves with morphine. I got it. I got it. I'm good. I'm good. Just give me some more morphine. Give me some more morphine,
Wow.
doc. I got it. And so, but eventually that adrenaline ran out, and then I literally had no juice. And then I remember I was already on a soft shoe profile, and they were trying to administer a PT test on Fort Hood, and I made it just a few feet, and I fell, and I
Wow.
couldn't stand. And I said, guys, I can't stand it. And they thought I was messing around, so someone picked me up, and I fell right back down. And then I realized that Holmes not playing; he can't. And so then they
Mm,
called the ambulance over there. They took me to Darnell. Next thing you know, I mean, they got me in a half body cast, literally all the way up to my hips.
wow.
hmm And then
So
I
that's
and then I ETS from the military rather than doing a medical discharge, because back then it was a transition. There wasn't a warrior transition unit or anything like that. It was called Med Hold, where they put everybody in that either adapt that military like basically they're being chaptered out for medical reasons, they're being chaptered out for mental health reasons, or they're being chaptered out for behavior issues, or because they can't pass the PT test or something. We used to call it Fat Boy program. But
okay.
with yeah, but the thing is, they mask us all in one unit called, and that was before we had a transition unit. And it was called Med Hold, and so then they treated me like crap, and I was like, I'm done. And so then I prayed about it, and I just felt the Lord leading me just to I transitioned from the military and joined the ministry, and that's how my healing began. Was
Mm,
that, and then 9 months after I wrote my book, Some of My Life Lessons, which is on Amazon today, that little 38 little
I'm gonna
page
pull that up. What's that called?
Some of My Life Lessons. If you look up Joshua L. Home on Amazon, it shows all three of our books on there. And it,
Okay. Joshua.
yeah,
Just
it's
go
it's a
Joshua Holmes.
yeah, Joshua L. Home. Yeah. You can just put my name on Amazon and it pops it up.
Okay.
And you see a little
Well,
brown book, and it has a set of hands like with stones in it. And so that book is talking about turning stumbling blocks into stepping stones. And that became a blueprint to everything that I'm doing now through my foundation. And so Still Hope, I birthed my own organization. And it all came just from truly just wanting to inspire hope in other people, no matter what happens. And so that's why I
mm,
said, I'm like, have a great day, no matter what. And that's what my voicemail says. When you call my phone, that's what it says. It says, have a great day, no matter what. And because, guys, we're given 86,400 seconds. That's how many seconds we have per day. 86,400 seconds. So
mm.
the question is, what are you doing with what you've been given?
I love that.
Are you valuing it? Are you sharing it? Or are you just consuming it? Because I tell people all the time, you get to tell who someone is by what they eat. Yeah, right there, that little brown book. So my life
That's
lessons. There it is. Yep. That's my first little book. I wrote that book with two fingers being told I'd never walk again. I always said, babe, you got to find purpose through your pain. So guys, she never said you don't have pain. She said you got to find purpose through your pain.
I gotta add these links into this episode, brother.
And
You
so that,
have had the hand of God on your life. I tell you what, this is just miracle after miracle. Not many men are able to even cope with the outcomes of what half of what you've gone through. TBIs alone are no freaking joke. But
no.
then the physical disabilities and things of that nature, my gosh.
Well,
And that's
and
where I'm so excited about what Glenn's kicking off here, because you're literally you were fighting through. It sounded like you had braces, you were using
yeah,
crutches and things of that nature. You became the man of steel kind of throughout this process, and then
yep.
you just turn and there's a pop, and next thing it's like chest down, you're paralyzed, so you're still
Hmm.
wheelchair bound,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then
yeah. Right.
dang, brother. But with the potential of what uh, Glenn's doing, even in his film. Like it's beyond even helping Joshua home get an exoskeleton and bring quality of life back. It's how
Absolutely.
Joshua here is wanting to revolutionize products and even the ability and access and funds, all the things necessary for individuals to get this, especially
Absolutely.
for our wounded warriors. My gosh, this is just
Yep, like my heart was broken because I saw a documentary and I sent it to Glenn, and there it was overseas and everything, but there was a guy that he walked for 10 years with this technology, and then like one day it broke, and then they said it was old technology, they would not fix it. So now he had a very inexpensive part that they could fix, but they discontinued that system, and so he was walking for 10 years after being and then now he can't walk because they don't want to make a little small part that broke. It's like, are you kidding me? And it's like there's this new technology out there. They know about it, it's almost like with fiber. That like they didn't want to come out with fiber because they wanted everybody to to use the regular internet and pay all this much money. They had the technology out there. They've had it out for years. It's just the fact that they put a price tag on it. And so
mm,
what I say is, guys, let's just take the price tag off completely. What we're doing here is priceless, and we're changing
just
lives. And we don't put price on a soul. What we're doing is priceless. That's why I don't charge a life coach. I don't charge for anything I do through my foundation. I do not charge for any of my programs that we
let's
do.
actually get into that here a little bit. So the steelhope.org is something you kicked off.
Yeah.
What all is going on here?
Okay, so I mean, so we've got a retired flag project right there. So what we do, we partnered with a Marine mom, and for over 10 years, she has retired more than 7,500 flags. Rather than burning the American flag, she came up with a poem. And like I said, she's a Marine mom. She hand washes them. She takes a
Mm,
picture of them being tattered and torn, and then she hand washes them and then puts a poem on them and gives them repurpose.
oh wow.
and it's a tag at the very end of it. It's a beautiful poem, uh, and her name is Melissa Bird, and she does this because she is so passionate about giving back. And our
Mm,
Warrior Division is all the protection serving their families. And so if you go to stillhope.org, and that's steel like metal, it's standing, transforming, encouraging, loving, helping other problems erase. The road to recovery, that's rehabilitation. So it's more than just a rehabilitation. It's a
Mm.
mind, body, and spirit empowerment. It's called an MBS system, and that's what I teach. And
Wow.
then another one of our projects, like I said, we have a ranch that we're building right here in Mineral Wells, Texas, in a rural area outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And the Lord gave me a vision. He said, if you build it, they shall come. And
Oh.
the house once belonged to a World War II veteran. In 2012, it was an accidental burning. After that, people got in there and vandalized it. And the Lord showed me it's like life. And it's like you have burdens, but like, what are we focusing? Are we focusing on the burdens of life? Are we focusing on being the blessing of life
Mm.
and sharing that blessing with others? And so I have this property set aside for building such a place of restoration, healing, and hope. And I wanted to be utilized. And and I have the property. And now I just got to connect the God dots and let God just kind of connect all these things, putting everything together. And Glenn is
Wow.
one of these dots. And
Yes.
and the thing is, I mean, and that's what it's all about. Because even when I was in the braces, guys, every single day I did three things. I shut up. I strapped on, I shut up, and I stepped out. That was my principles, and they're principles. So strap on means find security outside yourself. Find something stronger than you and believe in it, and let that find strength through you. Like let that give you strength. Okay, and then shut up. We don't like to hear the word shut up, but a lot of times what we really need is what we really don't want to hear, or are the foods that we should be eating. What I'm saying, doesn't taste good to us. And so it's like we need these things.
Mm.
But really, like, the thing is, like,
Yeah.
um and then step out. That means look over yourself, your circumstance, your situation, and help somebody. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of the comfort of your life, out of your luxury, and then we literally can be trapped even in success. There are very successful people that could be even more successful, but they're afraid they can never get back to that point again. So then they
Yeah.
never step out.
Wow.
And then and truly, in the mental health aspect, guys, you literally mental health. And when you look at post-traumatic stress, so it's pretty much like you're in a padded room. Okay, so a 12 by 12, which is a master bedroom, that's a good sized room, right? So a 12 by 12, but every single time you go back in that trauma, you're adding more padding to it. So then that 12 by 12 becomes a 10 by 10. And then, okay, so now it's more like a little office. All right. Okay. And then you go back into it. Now it's an 8 by 8. Boom. Now you got a utility room. Okay. Boom. Eventually that becomes a 6 by 6. What is 6 by 6? Solitary confinement. So you can literally be trapped in a thought, a trauma, or even an idea.
Wow. That's deep. I love it. What this page here. So another one,
Mhm.
themanofsteel.com. What are you
Yeah.
trying to accomplish on this page? I
Well,
see
so
testimony, all sorts of things.
absolutely, yes. So I'm actually looking to rebrand it, because I
Okay.
actually want to be able to train other people to be public speakers and to get out there and basically share their hope, and
Okay.
because you never know what part of your story someone needs to hear. And so I tell
Yes.
people, don't be selfish and hide your scars, and don't hide your story, because you
I
never
love
know
that.
the one word that you could speak that could save someone's life. Don't know what someone else is going through. You don't
Right.
know their breaking moment. You don't know really what mental capacity or what mental state they're in. And maybe one word that you spoke touches their life and changes their lives forever. So
Oh,
I have literally given tens of thousands of my copies of my book away, some of my life lessons. Um, and, and as a life coach, the very first thing I do is I send a free copy of that
of
book
that book
out to that
out.
person, and I tell them, I said, I want you to find one crumb out of this book, find one reason that either inspires you, that lets you share your story. Just give me one little piece, and that crumb will lead you to a beautiful cake of life. And that's what
Wow.
it's all about, guys. Sharing your stories, sharing your scars, and doing it scared. Because if you think that I'm not scared, what I'm saying, being in a wheelchair and having to rely on other people, learning how to drive by hand again, what I'm saying? I mean, guys, I was doing push-ups on 2 fingers and thumbs only all over the world with 22 pounds of braces. I didn't do it because it felt good. I did it because I wanted to show people, no matter what pressure and pain that you find
Wow.
yourself in that you can overcome. If you focus on the one thing you can do, don't focus on 99 things that life, depression, and the darkest of demons told you can't do. Focus on the one thing you can do. Because Jesus forsake the 99 to go after the one. You are the one, and
Yeah.
you can help that one person. And
Wow.
so that's why I say I just help one person. And like I said, it might be a smile, it might be a word of inspiration. It might be just calling your neighbor. It might be going next door and just knocking on them and say, hey, you know what? Are you okay? You know what I'm saying? I
Mm.
mean, and let someone know, hey, the Lord loves you. I love you. And just sharing that hope, sharing that love with someone, you don't know what it's doing. Well, first off, it heals you because
Yes.
when you focus on others, that's what hope is all about, helping others' problems erase. My wife says that because your focus becomes your future. And if you focus on yourself, you remain in self. But if you focus on less of self and more of serving, then you become greater as
Mm.
you serve. Because
Bro.
literally, if you have dirt in a cup and you continue to put one drop of water in that cup, right? What happens is eventually that dirt's going to lift to the very top, and now you're going to have a clean vessel. You're going to have a clean cup. My very first sermon that I ever preached over in Africa was called "A Cup for the King," and it's so powerful because the thing is, we were made to be in this world, but we were never made of this world. So when you know that you were made not of this world, you cannot be broken by this world. That you
Mm.
are made to be a vessel that the Lord pours into. But the one thing about being a vessel of charge and a vessel of change and it being a cup for the king is that you're a vessel that God's going to pour into. But when you stop pouring out to others, then eventually he will stop pouring into you.
Wow. Brother, I feel we are only scratching the surface with your story, the gifts that have been endowed upon you, and the encouragement and the connections he's been working through you. And just there's so much momentum to be gained here. Organization, to walk in that light, that love you just beautifully, laid out before us. Like it's a crucial part. Yes, we should do it in the intent of helping others. But yes, there is a self serving side to it all, to taking care of oneself. And there is
Absolutely.
great healing in that. So, this is another thing you're
Yep.
engaged in.
Yep.
Tell us about
Yep.
this.
So VAU, so we have a partnership with VAU. So they
Okay.
are a Veteran and Athletes United organization, 100% ran by all volunteers, and they're an incredible organization that gives back to Gold Star families, and they also take in injured military and do retreats, specialized retreats for them. Well, we have a partnership with them with the Memorial Flag. So we are building the third of the country that second that it would be the third one and the first in the entire South. And so we have a partnership with James
Wow.
Howard and his foundation, incredible organization that's very selfless, completely selfless. And guys, every dime, every dollar that becomes donated, once we build our flag, then 50% of proceeds will go to Gold Star family programs that we're partnering with them, and
Wow.
also that we find other programs I'm working with. The other 50% will go directly to Still Hope programs because we don't not charge at all for any of our programs. That wall is 6 feet tall. It's a mobile tribute wall and
Wow.
has over 7,000 engraved dog tags on it from our global war on terrorism to current. Has 50
Look at
gold
that.
stars on it for the Gold Star families. Guys,
Mm.
literally, it's breathtaking. And
It
if,
is
if you look on, and
beautiful.
if you look on there, we had that wall. We sponsored the wall to come to Mineral Wells, Texas, to our Unity Field event. And so on November 2nd is when we had our event. So if you look in the calendar, you'll see Mineral Wells, Texas on there at Still Freedom Ranch. And
Wow.
so, but they have these for different 5K. They have them for different events, galas, this, that, and the other. But we are building the third one. We're building the first partnership one because the other two are under their foundation. But well, I told them I wanted to be an outreach for them, but an impact for us. You know what I'm saying? Because we want to share that message of hope and inspiration, and we want to teach people about honor, service, and sacrifice. And what better? And that's the founder right there. You're seeing his back. He's a
Oh,
he's a
right there.
quadriplegic. Yep, that's
Wow.
James Howard. Yep.
Once
He's
again, a great
amazing guy.
example for someone that faced great adversity here in the flesh. I can only imagine through what means he achieved great breakthrough, just a strengthening. True individual, like patriots and godly men and women that we could get behind that would create more momentum, snap us out of our violin playing, right? And all
Yeah,
this brokenness in the world today. There's a reason why evil, I mean, my goodness, is you're sitting there talking about your fantastic wife and oh my, going to the point. That is so powerful. Joshua, you know religion. I know Jesus. Like that gives
yeah,
me goosebumps, bro. Like
yeah.
it speaks to me because I know when I was wrapped up in the education side of religion, I'm seeking relation, I'm trying to figure it out, and then finally, like the breakthrough, and that's why I say it's relationship over religion.
It
And
is. It is.
you could dumb it down, simplify it to like Jesus says, like this meekness of a child, and
Yes.
however you speak, just having start opening these communications, just and seeking those answers, seeking that closeness. He will answer them, and it will be through a bunch of different means. Some people, like me, with the stubbornness, it's through interactions like men like you, like Glenn Baker, and it's just a testament. Like that speaks volumes to me because through examples, like in your powerful stories and testimonies, it's just it touches my heart, and it just becomes sometimes for other people it's going to be verbally like you've experienced hearing the voice, like
Yeah.
other people testify as well. And it's uniquely so he may not show up in the ways you expect or you want, but he will show up when you're really seeking him in the ways you need. And
Absolutely. If you go back to stillhope.org, you go on
yeah,
there. I saw our Papa for a Purpose. So
I'm
this was
enjoying these
birth.
pictures here, but yeah,
Yeah, no,
let's
you're fine. Yeah, no, go ahead.
um,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So
stillhope.org.
right there. Yep, right there. Papa for a Purpose. See that right there? Okay, so what it is, that was birthed out, and you can just let it scroll, that's fine. But that
Whoa,
Papa for
can
a
I stop
Purpose,
it? Which one is it?
yeah, Papa for a Purpose. It's gonna be the tab. One more. Right
Oh,
there.
right there.
Yep, right
Learn more.
there.
Caught
Yep.
it.
Yep, popping for a purpose. And so this was birthed out of doing physical therapy for me. And so then I started volunteering or whatever, and I started making kettle corn. And next thing you know, I was like, you know what? I said, why can't these be like our Girl Scout cookies? Why can't we do this to raise money for our foundation, for our cause? And next thing you
Okay.
know, we have a pop-up vendor, and we started making hand squeezed lemonades, gourmet popcorn, gourmet teas, and
Wow.
we start working with volunteers. And then I'm doing training with them, teaching them about life skills by making gourmet popcorn
Oh,
and,
wow.
and making hand squeezed lemonades. I mean, we make everything by hand. I mean, even like cotton candy, I lace it by hand. We infuse our own sugars, and eventually
Wow.
we're getting to a point where we're about to start getting where we can start shipping this out, get it out to businesses. Put a label on there of inspiration and hope, and we're raising money. At the same
Mm.
time, also giving a quality product away, but like because a lot of events, like you look at it, you try to get to an event as a foundation and stuff. It costs money to get there. You have to
They don't
bring your
want to.
travel, this and the other. And so what we realized is we could bring a great customer service and we could bring a great product together and we could share our information about our foundation. And then when people know that every dime, every dollar goes directly to the cause, they're on point and they're like, okay. So I started it and we called it Popping for a Purpose.
I love that, man. That's so cool. Um.
Yeah. And that was James again right there with this crew right there
Oh,
in the
right.
front. Yeah, that's James Howard. He's the founder of BAU.
Gosh dang, I'd love to chat with him and plug everything he's
Absolutely.
doing. Hopefully, the platform grows. I mean, it's not for me. This
Yeah.
all glory to God. This is a platform for we, all of us,
Yeah.
and through unification, it could form into a hub. It could form into just all this unification. Like we just need as his children against evil doesn't fight fair in this life. So it's like we just need to get better organized, more tapped into things like this. It's so crucial these days.
Well, and that's like Unity Field too, because Unity Field is, united noble individuals together yearning. And so, like, even though we don't have the ranch built, because I haven't tapped into the millions yet. And I say yet because it's coming. We're right around the corner from this. All it takes is one crumb, saying one seed, and being put in the ground. And so we're there. And I think us building this tribute flag is one thing, because it's already getting us on the map. People are now looking at, like, hey, what are you guys doing? How are you able to do that? People have seen the impact of Still Hope, but a lot of people have never even seen Still Hope, because Still Hope for years was behind the scenes supporting and holding the hands of other organizations.
Wow.
Selfless. That's what
Wow.
the organization is all about. That's why our slogan is "Our heart beats for others." Our heart beats for others.
Bro.
And and in Still Hope, so the bigger picture of Still Hope is that we're not a veteran organization. We are human services. We serve veterans, yes, and first responders. That's through our Warrior Division. And so, but we still work with rehabilitation, which is mind, body, and spirit empowerment, teaching people how to overcome things, working with addictions, working with veterans that have dealt with for 5 years, I was a mentor with the Veteran Treatment Courts, and I mentored these guys and gals and helping them get a second chance to basically make a life count, no matter what. So they were given a second chance they had to plead guilty for the crime, and they had to go through a process and learn about re-educating themselves. But at any given time, if they would quit, they're guilty of that crime. They get max punishment. And so,
Mm.
and I told him, and I was one of the volunteers there. So I told him, I said, I'm not here because I have to be here. I'm here because I want to be here. And
Well, it seems Josh just got a phone call or something that cut him out. Bear with us. He'll be back. I know he will. How powerful is it, folks? All this organization, all these things that are already happening. Could it be worth our time to get engaged, to get involved? I'm so excited for all this to be brought up to even my attention, and I look forward to building more momentum with all these organizations, with all these warriors, these soldiers. I hear him. Are you back? Maybe not quite yet. But let's plug Glenn Baker. What a warrior. If you haven't seen that episode that streamed just before this one, yeah, we're double dipping today. It just, God put these men in the path. We're diving on in. And I hope this is blessing, breathing light, hope, excitement in your day today. So I was just plugging here, Glenn, again, and going through, just speaking to the listeners, Joshua. I'm so amped. Like,
That's awesome, brother.
this is what it's about. This is what this existence is about. This is why we've been put in this time, right here, right now. Folks, click the link below. I'm telling you, this documentary is worth every penny. Be skeptic. Like I was in the initial, I was like, oh man, this has old man humor. This has what, but just wait. It builds upon itself. Glenn even uniquely added like a fun segment throughout the whole film where he's like, it's dark backdrop with the light kind of spotlight. He's like, hey, folks, this is Glenn's brain. And it's just this funny humor, but it's like, and you almost roll your eyes, but it grows on you. It's so well done. This is all I'm doing is diving into all this information, and he covers some dark things. However, it's so well balanced that you're not walking through the darkness; it's just shining the light on it. So the way it's brought in the end messages and these testimonies, it's just like it's encouraging. It's bringing light and spark and momentum. This could be a red pill for people to acknowledge the actual war that's being waged. Who better than our veterans themselves to acknowledge, to breathe light and properly acknowledge the reality of the direction of the country, the oppressors we're dealing with, because freedom is not free. Joshua here has paid personally sacrificed for us. I don't know if he's coming back. It might be a connection issue because I saw the actual loading icon. This is what life's about. All right, Joshua, are you back?
Okay. Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir. You know what drives me nuts? Oh God. Is my limitations. As a man, as a mortal, you only got so much bandwidth in a singular day. This is why no one singularly can shoulder the world's burdens. It's a collaborative effort. It's a collective effort. And it's the same thing on with the spiritual warfare. Not any one of us could make up. How is it kind of even biblically put? It's collectively we make up the body of Christ. So, Joshua, is it your connection? Is evil getting engaged? It looks like he's frozen again, folks. I don't know what's going on. But I'm so grateful for these men, everything they're doing, everything they're wanting to accomplish on our behalfs. It looks like he's trying a different system. We'll see if we get him back in here. Hey, there you go. Can you hear me? Well, I'm kind of bummed if it's going to end on this type of note. Let's see. All right, Joshua. We may just have to wrap this up. I'm at my physical limitation today. To be honest, I need more nutrition, nourishment to my body. I'm feeling like I've hit my limitation. All right, Josh. Hey, can you hear me?
I'm back, brother. Sorry about that. I lost connection.
You're right. In fact, let's actually. I'm exhausted. I was just now tapping into the body fatigue, the mental fatigue. I feel like
Yeah.
it's great energy this spiritual side can give you, but in the end, sometimes
It drains you, bro. Yeah.
it does drain you. You only got so much. That's why I'm like calling upon everyone. Hey, this is a collective effort, and we can ease all those burdens and such together. So let's, in closing here, let's wrap it up. You got some closing comments? Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg, folks. I'd love to have you back, Joshua, and we'll any new news, any impressions, like to dive in on specific topics, things of that nature. We can kick off a whole specific episode. Acknowledge any threats, like, oh, we need to unite against this tyranny or just something.
Yeah.
I open the platform. So in closing, any burning desire?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like my heart's cry, guys, is that you're not. Do not think that isolation is not your independence. It's your desolation. So do not isolate yourself, and also do not insulate yourself. So the guys literally trust in the Lord to be your strength. Let Him renew your strength, and let Him be the reason why you wake up every day, why you smile every day, why you share your story every day, and you share your hope and inspiration, guys, because you don't know the word that you could speak that could inspire someone else to live another day. You don't know what torment they're going through. You have no idea, you know what I'm saying, what physical tragedies they're going to see throughout that day. I mean, guys, there's tragedies all around us. People are dying every single day.
Yes.
And some are dying because they've lost hope, and others are dying because they're willing to take a stand and they're willing to fight. And some of them you're never going to see. But others, guys, it's all about just being a vessel of charge and a vessel of change that the Lord can use. Because remember, He changes the contents in the container. He doesn't change the container. So let the Lord take you as ordinary water and let Him restore you to be extraordinary wine.
Wow. Very beautifully said. Give it up, folks, for Joshua HOLM, the man of steel. You have been more than gracious with your time, your presence, what you've learned, your testimony, just so much. We've just scratched the surface. I'm making a note here to add in the books, links into this episode. Folks, check out this man's literature. I mean, there's a blessing to reading, right? I'm not very good at it, as I've attempted live on these shows, but it's a part of gaining more resilience and things of that nature too, and absorbing, letting our minds wander and just leveling ourselves up. So I challenge you to click the links below. Everything Joshua was engaged in behind the scenes here and supporting these very noble movements and causes.
Yeah.
I challenge you to check out Glenn's documentary.
Yeah. And trust me, there's nothing else, guys. That this is the real, and it's raw, unedited emotion from warriors that are mad. Some are sad, and some are disgusted at what the government and what the military and what even the recovery has done. And they're hiding things. And so this documentary is exposing some of that, but at the same time, it's also giving liberation, but it's also sharing the light of the Lord.
100%. Well, I look forward to our next chat. And the one after that. It's incredibly uplifting to just engage in these conversations. So you're blessing one individual already right here in front of you. So I thank you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor to be here with you, brother. So
check out the links, all the links, check out our affiliations. Help us reach more individuals. Unfortunately, I there's a part of money that disgusts me in this existence. I would like to go back to a bartership. I would like to go back to it's a more holistic transition than some fake. I mean, that's what Christ got righteous anger over. What are these money changers and interest and things of that level? Like, well, we're going to pave a way. We're going to figure out a way to end the Fed, this corrupt, debted system we're in, interest rates, the whole nine. I mean, I don't even understand if someone had the money to lend someone like in a secure investment such as a home, like that's a secure. If they can't pay you what you guys agree out on with maybe a $5,000 or $10,000 additional, okay, for supplying that, like $5,000-$10,000, that's fine. They already have the money. Like it's not a big deal. But you can't pay. Well, it's a secure investment on their end because they'll acquire that property. It more than likely went up in value anyways, and they got the funds and means. So why we are allowing evil to have this control over us in this life, and it's creating such a division in the flesh that the very flesh is now, they're utilizing that money to attack and diminish us and dim our lights there. We got all the proof. We've brought all the receipts. We've had all these discussions. So let's stop giving them that power. Let's lift each other up. Let's start supporting good organizations. It's the little steps like that that are going to make all the difference tomorrow and in the end. And in the process, we get a bask in light, glory, meaning, purpose, peace, joy, the whole nine. Thank you, my brother, for leading by example. My violin got crushed dealing with everything, hearing everything you've gone through, everything Glenn's gone through. I have no violin to play. I have nothing but gratitude and light to absorb right now. And I just hope that's kind of in closing what others felt as well. God, may our loving creator God, there's a distinction between gods here, and I don't want us to fall for the deceitfulness of the one that promises all these things in the flesh. Why settle for a lesser God than the loving creator of it all? That's what it's about. It's clear as day. So thank you, brother. Look forward to next time, folks.
Glad to be here, bro. Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Till next time, take care.